God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever. This is my title for all generations. Go and assemble the elders of Israel and tell them, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham,
July 15th, 2021. Memorial of St. Bonaventure, Bishop and Doctor of the Church.
A reading from the book of Exodus. Moses, hearing the voice of the Lord from the burning bush, said to him, When I go to the children of Israel and say to them, The God of your fathers has sent me to you, if they ask me, What is his name? What am I to tell them? God replied, I am who am. Then he added, This is what you shall tell the children of Israel. I am sent me to you. God spoke further to Moses, Thus shall you say to the children of Israel, The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever. This is my title for all generations. Go and assemble the elders of Israel and tell them, The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has appeared to me and said, I am concerned about you and about the way you are being treated in Egypt. So I have decided to lead you up out of the misery of Egypt into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and...
Good morning. Good morning. We're on a different perch today, overlooking Magdala, the home of Mary Magdalene, and in a week's time we'll be celebrating her feast day. And now something new is coming to light about Magdala. So one of the reasons I came up here this morning was to give you a spot to see the archaeology like with a bird's view, a bird's eye view. Just let's be careful as we walk down here. It's a little steep. Don't slip, okay? Sorry if you don't have your right shoes on, but at least have the left one on. So there you can see some of the burn as well from the fire last week. So right here we're above the dig right now. Let's look at this. Oh, the sun is gone. Look at that. It'll be coming back in a moment. So here, this is the intersection that needs decent planning and treatment because there's a lot of traffic here. Sometimes it's very backed up, and there's going to be a new traffic circle here. And then here we have the dig going on because when you do construction, you always find something here under the ground. This is true of all older civilizations. We find remnants of peoples who went before us, and it's good to know where we come from and who was here before us. And we're curious to know about Magdala. Everybody is, and at least everybody from the Magdala family is. And we can glean some information from this dig. The authorities decided to dig, taking advantage of the activity here at the road construction. They have to do it. It's an obligation, because if you're doing construction, you have to be responsible for treasure that might be there from prior cultures and periods. The sun is going to come out shortly again up there. So we're following just the cattle tracks here. They're not really that much of tracks, it's just where they have been grazing, and because of the dry soil, it has crumbled a little bit under their feet. So it's just a little slippery, but it's okay. So there we get a closer look at the archaeology, but we're going to get a better spot later on. So I'm going to go back up here and we'll see it from a different angle. Here we've got one of our caper bushes. I haven't seen too many with the big heavy fruit. This one doesn't seem to have any, or maybe the animals have taken care of it, or I've no idea. Maybe some don't have that much fruit. So there we have a second sunrise over this other piece of cloud. It's very, very hazy. That's always a sign of a lot of heat in this time of the year. I haven't even looked at the thermometer these days. It's just been very hot. I don't know what the score is. So there we can see the archaeologists working down there, but let's move on a little further. And we have a couple of spots where we'll get very good glimpses of them. I mean, I could go down this hill a little bit more, but we also have other things to talk about on the way. So we have a very, very powerful reading today when God reveals his name to Moses. And it's a name that leaves us a little bit with questions, with a search, a desire for greater clarity. Hey, we could go down here a little bit. And he says, I am who am. And you could say, well, I am who am. Well, yes and no. If we want to be precise, I am whom my parents conceived. I can't say I am who am. I am always am. There was a time when I was not. I am who am. But I'm also a little bit different than I was, let's say, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, before I came here. And it's not just about people having receding hairlines or a couple of pounds or kilos more or less weight. It's about the transformation of our persons. Hopefully we become a little bit more meek and humble of heart. Hopefully we mature. So I want to be the best version of myself. That's an interesting phrase. I think Matthew Kelly coined it, or at least he got it from somewhere. And a lot of people are using it nowadays. And now we're in a nice high perch here. You see it goes straight down here almost. Let's peep over this rock here. And you can see. So there you have all the archaeologists working down there, like a little beehive, a little anthill. And they're walking around. Our sun is coming out beautifully. So basically the big discovery yesterday was actually Kathleen and Father Alvaro were involved with it. They're new here in terms of our archaeological history, so it's nice to get your hands in the clay and with a pick and a shovel, and then with a toothpick when it gets down to the closer details, and you're finding things. And they found a little street intersection, which is important because it's over on that section over. Let me put it in the center of the screen for you. Yeah, it's in that section there, as far as, yeah, I think so. They stopped digging that other long trench over there. get a little closer. There's a long trench over there now. And they didn't find anything there, so they think that at least from the evidence they have, that the town didn't have anything there. But they see over here that there are actually two intersections in this spot. So this means that there was very intentionally built space here, and they're still hoping maybe to find the wall of the town itself, the town wall, the defense wall. They don't think there's much over here from what they have explored already on each side of the road there. And then the road is going to swing, a branch of it is going to swing here, along here, to free up the traffic that's coming from not just Wadi Hammam, but also from the Nazareth, Magar, Haifa direction, coming over this way. And that'll allow traffic to flow smoothly here and not back up the traffic here coming in from the west. So that's the reason for the work and the occasion for the work. And we're very happy because now we know that Magdala was across this side of the road. You know, before we were over there in our property, and oftentimes we think from our own space, right? In our own lives, we think from our own space. I'm the measure of everything, so to say, that type of psychology. And then we realize, okay, our town is on the other side of that road also. It extended over that far. And that's kind of logical. It would extend here to the feet of these cliffs. This is a cliff area and a cave area. And this would be a natural defense line by itself for the town. So it's understandable that they could have had a wall over here. That's the thinking. So now we're going to go back to our readings of Exodus and this whole idea of God's name, I am who am. It's a very powerful expression that seems in a way not so clear to us in meaning. We have to work a little to figure out, to come to grips with the implications of this name. So there was a time when I was not, and I'm also developing. So I am whom I'm developing to become. Like somebody could become a criminal, and they weren't a criminal before, and somebody can become a saint, which is the goal for all of us. And I don't think any of us would say we're a saint right now. There's a long way to go. We discover how frail our virtue is when we're tested with adverse circumstances, adverse people, aggressivity, hostility. Our charity it hits a wall. Well, I can't be charitable in this case. I have to be angry. People lose control of their words. They can even do damage, say insulting things. And where was our charity? People of seemingly great faith, and they're tested and they say, no, this is enough. So we put conditions before God, and we're growing. We're growing. Like a little child, you know, they learn the first steps, crawling, and then little steps walking, holding onto something, and then they're learning to run, and how many times they fall when they're running. And then there's a good take on the burn part. That's what burned the other day, all that black spot. And actually, when it burned, it revealed a lot of archaeology. One day if we're walking along there, you can see all the stones, a lot of ashlars, a lot of cut stones. So that fire revealed that. Normally in the wintertime you can't see it either because of all the new growth with the rain, and then in the summertime you can't see it because of all the vegetation that's there, dried up there. Hey, that's a nice take. We're going to lose the sun again in a little bit. So I am who am. This is an extraordinary name because it's a fullness of being without beginning or end. I am who am. Uncaused being. I have to go back, people, because there are bushes here blocking my way. I think unless you want to go through these bushes here, but not me. Okay, you can go ahead. I'm going to go back. I think I could push my way through here. It's not so thick. It's not easy for us to deal with the reality of God. It's like, this is a big rock here, okay? And you say, okay, pick this up. Well, you can't. And not every tractor can pick it up either. Okay? So, and it's pretty thick. That's a smaller one. So let's try this one. Well, I wouldn't be able to pick it up either. You know, I can take some of the smaller ones there, or maybe a bigger one. Or maybe I could work on this basalt one here, this black one. So, with dealing with God, you know, we kind of don't have the handle on him to pick him up. And there's a whole process of growth, like the child walking and the child learning the alphabet, and it's a long day before the child will write poetry. Except we have some Beethoven genius that's playing the piano at 4 and composing symphonies at 5 or whatever. And with the mystery of God, it's a mystery. That's why we use the word mystery. Mystery is like an iceberg. There's so much you can see and so much under the water that you know is there, but you can't see it. And you don't know exactly what's there, but you have a good idea. And the ships have to be very careful. And there are huge icebergs. So, the mystery of God, I am who am. I am who am sends you. There are also other contexts for this word, and so it becomes I am who am with you. God is with us. He's with us in our hardships. He's with us in the thorny burning bush. He's with us in the consuming fire and flame, in sickness and health, in poverty and riches. And even at death we won't part with God. God won't part with us. It's great. That's great. That's great vocabulary there, you know. Great thought. And that thought is so deeply embedded in love. Such a powerful expression of married love. I am who am with you, provident, forgiving. And with that we could turn to the text of the gospel, because that's exactly where it is at. Exactly where it's at. Come to me, all you who labor and overburdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. My burden is light. It's easy. Learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart. The discovery of God, the discovery of his mercy. And many people have been touched deeply by the experience of God's mercy and goodness and kindness. And Mary Magdalene has to be one of these shining examples, and her fidelity to that goodness and kindness is also extraordinary. In fact, right now we're looking into the oldest part of Magdala here. Just hold on a second. And I think we'll call it a day with this. But this is a good spot to see it from. So Here, just to the right of where the sun is hitting the water here, we have this part that the Franciscans own. There you see it. And this has many layers of archaeology from Hellenistic times to Ottoman period, even almost modern period. So it has a lot of habitation. And we have to think about Mary Magdalene here, maybe walking the streets. They've just been exploring in the new archaeology in the old part of the town, the port area, at the synagogue, so much. People, thank you for joining. Look at that beautiful sky, beautiful lake, beautiful Magdala. God bless you. Thank you for being with us today. See you later, alligators.